Well, today I'm going to try a little experiment. I've been noticing some of the newer RVs, they can monitor, when they're plugged up to a 50 amp service, they can monitor the amperage on both legs coming in to the RV. And I don't have that feature, seeing we have an older RV, being a 2005. And actually, well, to give you a better idea, like right now we're plugged up to 50 amp. See, it gives you AC load meter, but the load meter only works when you're plugged up to a 30 amp service. It's just the way was designed at the time. So it gives you the ability, so if you're plugged up to 30 amps, if you plug up too many items, you can watch your amperage. When you start hitting 30, you know you're maxed out. To kind of remind yourself not to be turning anything else on. Or if you need to turn on a microwave, you better turn off air conditioner, because you can't have two air conditioners and a microwave all at the same time. So that's when you're on 30 amps. I have that information. But when I'm 50 amp, I don't have that information. And recently I tripped the 50 amp breaker out on the pedestal. And I thought, well, if I had a way to monitor my load, I could prevent that from happening. So I got to doing some research, and I found this little device on Amazon. It was only like $14 a piece. And I'm fixing to test this. I got my panel apart here, so I'm going to tap in. These are my main wires coming off of the from the cord from outside, being 50 amps. And you just slide those wires through these little loops, and it is supposed to measure the amps coming through. So I'm going to do a quick hookup. And then you take this wire and give it an AC source, 120 volts. So I'll just stick it in this hole here. We'll see what happens, so stay tuned. So I thought I would add this little safety tip. Okay, so I went outside and unplugged the cord from the pedestal. So there's no power coming into the RV. And you see I got the breaker panel off, and I'm fixing to start unhooking wires. But because I also have an inverter, and a little green light tells me the inverter is on, you can see I still have current, AC current in the coach. So I know to turn the inverter off. But if you didn't stop to think of that, you could risk getting a shock. So if you get into your panel and you think, okay, I got everything unplugged, that's one thing. But you need to make sure that the inverter is also powered off. And let's check here. See, now we have no juice in the RV whatsoever. So now I should be able to take my wires loose and not get a zap. I'm going to hook these up, power stuff back up, and see what happens. Okay, it looks like we got success. So I've got it wired up, and if I can, it's a little dark, but you can, I'll try to hang out and get a flashlight. Oh! Make it better. Yeah, it's better. Okay. So now you can see how I position these two rings. One on this wire coming in from outside, 50 amp service, and this ring passing through those two wires. So they're each monitoring the voltage separately coming through. So now, at the moment, I got both air conditioners running. So I can see there's my voltage 115, 116. My amp draw, that's the key thing, is my amp draw. So I got 14 amps on one leg, 12 amps on the other. I'll just show you how it will change. I'll go up here and turn on the electric hot water heater. Let's see what it changes to. I'll just turn it on. Okay, see, now look at it. That one leg jumped up to, nearly 30 amps. And we got 50 amps per leg, because the 50 amp service actually gives you 100 amps of power. So it's a little confusing, but that's just the way it is. So I think this is going to work out just fine. And now I got to, as far as get my wiring done, I got to get it fused. I got to figure out what size fuse to use on such a small AC wire, because I got to tap into a source of AC to power these, and then I got to run it behind the panel up through the wall, and I will probably make me a cutout right here and put both of those digital pieces, and it'll have me a switch that I can flip on and off, because I don't want them running all the time. It's just occasionally I want to see what's going on. I can flip the switch and see, monitor my voltage. So I'm going to like this little upgrade. I haven't seen no one else do this, but maybe other people see it and they can add it to their older RV. See how it does. Well, I'm getting started on my LED display here for the monitoring the voltage. Tricky part is getting these holes cut out nice and neat. So what I'm using is this little tool right here. It works out pretty well. So I can get in there and cut me a nice straight line. So I got one side, I done popped it in there, it looks good. So now I'm working on the other side. I just drilled me 4 little pilot holes just to get me started in the right spot. And we'll just keep marching forward until we get it. So it's been a couple months. I'm just now getting back to this project. I remember that little video I had where at least I showed where I knew it would work. It'll do what I want to do. Now I've finally sat down and drew me out a schematic of how I want it to work, how I want to wire it, get my color codes and the other components I had to gather up. You know, so I got my inline fuses that I got. And I decided to go with a 1 amp fuse. I think that would be plain. Protect that AC wire that's going to be going up through the wall. I chose this wire here. I got 8 conductor thermostat wire that I'll be running into the breaker box up through. And you can see I've already got my cutout here. And where's my... And I got me a double pole, double throw switch. That's important. You got to make sure you got double pole, double throw. So it breaks both AC connection because I want this switch to kill the power, the AC power to each meter. Because I don't want them on 24/7 as long as just when I want to see what's going on. I'll flip it on. When I'm satisfied, I'll kick it off. But it's got a good hard click to it, so that's why I put this washer in behind it, so it would have a good spread out the load a little bit. But here I was going to try to show you a little bit because it'd be hard to show you in the box a little bit how this is going to work out. I was referring to these things as little donuts, which they look like donuts, but the technical terms are called current transformers. So I got each current transformer on each leg coming in to the RV to the 50 amp breaker because our coach is 50 amp. And then also off each leg I got to monitor the AC voltage coming in. This will give me the amp load off the current transformers, but these little wires here will go up through my fuses up into the panel and plug into the meter. So you can see right here, it's these right here, this is your AC connection. This connection here is for the current transformer that measures the amp load. And of course you can see it comes up pretty simple. You can come down off to your neutral bar. There's my double pole, double throw switch. So I can flip it on and off. That'll kill the current to both meters at the same time. So if you can, pause your screen, print that out, give you an idea of how it's all going to work. I think it'll be pretty good. I've already drew out my colors. So when I start stripping my wires and making my connections, I've already got that figured out. I don't have to stop and try to make sure I don't run something backward. So let's get wiring this up and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, I'm doing a little bit of design chain as I'm going along. First I was going to tap in my AC wires off these lugs off the breaker box, or off the breaker itself. But after getting here and looking, I've got off the main lugs here, I've got the left and right, they're not being used, so that'll make it a lot easier. I'm going to just tap into that. I'm going to put my fuse on each one. I've got 2 fuses, so that's where I'm going to go there. Of course, here's my AC wires, and I noticed I had a color coding problem. I noticed I was going by my schematic running on my wires, and I noticed I ran out of a wire. I had a yellow down here where that should be orange. This wire should be orange for my neutral. So that's where I'm at so far. So I got a little more thinking to do, a little more wiring to do. Well, everything's wired up and it's working. Which is pretty sweet. So there's you see my wires. Here's my connections here for the measuring the amp load. And you can see right here is my AC fuses. So I got 1 amp fuses protecting the AC current that's going up and through the wall. Got that done. See down here, that's where my neutral wires are tied. Pretty simple hookup. And then I ran it through the wall, through the vent. Came up into here, I ran the wire up and down to get the load off of it, so it's coming down this way. And you can see all my connections here. Just so you know, the polarity doesn't matter on either connection. This is the amp gauge, and then this is the power, the AC coming into the meter, which also monitors the AC on each leg. And of course my double pole switch. You need to be careful about this because this has 110 volts on it. So I'll put me some tape or something around those connections just to make sure, because most stuff is 12 volts. But look around here, here's the cool part. Here we go, that's sweet. Now, right now I'm running the generator just to give it a little bit of a test. You can see I got my toggle switch. That's off. When I want to know what's going on, I just flip that switch, and there we go. So like I got the front air on, so it's pulling 12 amps. Now I'll go flip the back air on. Let's go back here, and you'll see it jump up. So it's jumped up about 6 amps now. And it must be the converter must be drawing amperage too on that other leg. But I like it. I'm gonna turn the front air off and see what happens. And turn the fan off. Okay. So that leg drops down to 5 amps. The rear air is on, it's 7 amps. So that's pretty cool. So I'll finish tucking on my wires, zip tying the few things, and put it all together. Next step will be plugging it up to 50 amp service and check that out. But it's pretty cool knowing what's going on behind the scenes. I'll just step back and show you what a mess my projects create in this poor RV. Well, sometimes my wife will ask me, "What you doing out in the RV?" I said, "Trust me, you don't want to know. You don't dare walk into the RV because you won't like what you see." I got stuff all apart, scattered every which way. Pieces, parts are everywhere in the floor. And because I'm also doing, look at this mess over here. I'm also doing some plumbing upgrades. I'm in the middle of that too. I'm just fixing to get this finished, installed. So working on that, but at least I'll get this project over with and finish up on the plumbing. And as you can see, I added a little label up here to AC voltage, so that'll remind me, a year from now, if I'm poking around in there, if somebody else is, they'll be careful because there's AC voltage floating around. Don't want no shocks. So I'm wrapping up this little project, and I thought this might be helpful if somebody wants to tackle this project and get more information about it. You can Google this, Annual DL 55 2042. Google that. I found a PDF file somewhere that gave me some information about the voltage, the panel cutout size, and all that stuff, which actually I had to measure it at 62 millimeter by 38 millimeter is the panel size cutout that you need. But it's got some basic information about how it works, how it hooks up. You can use it on a lot of different devices. And great little outfit. But here's what it looks like all said and done. Right now I got the generator running. I'm not plugged into the 50 amp service yet. But the generator's running, and I'll flip my switch. And there we go. 2 amps on one leg, 19 amps on the other. Pretty cool. I like it. Let me see, we'll turn the fan off. Okay, so it drops that down quite a bit. Fan back on. Neat trick. Well, this is another test. Actually, my cord won't reach my 50 amp plug-in where I'm at. So I plugged up to just an outside receptacle on the side of the house, just with 120 volts, just as a test to see how it would do. So even with that works well. So I got the front fan on the air conditioner. Now I'm going to click on the hot water heater, and you can see how it jumps up. There it goes, jumps up to 9 amps. So even plugged up to just household current, it will monitor it. Pretty cool upgrade. Make yours today.